Welcome back to Local Talk. If you have been beat up by the winter blues, just take a look at this. It's a reminder that blue skies, sandy beaches, and sunny days do exist somewhere. Well, if these pictures spur you on to book a vacation, you'll want to listen first to our next guest. They're here to tell us all about the hot spots and to give us all the travel tips we'll need to make sure we have smooth sailing wherever we go. Debbie Evans is in her 23rd year with West Penn AAA. Debbie is a certified travel associate. She is a travel agent and an auto travel counselor as well. David Harris owns the Cruise Holidays franchise in Pittsburgh with his wife Marilyn. He has not only professional information but has personally cruised on numerous ships with his family over the years. And Dr. Audrey Gusky joins us from Duquesne University. Dr. Gusky is considered one of the nation's leading consumer experts and is an associate professor of marketing. Thanks for being with us, all of you. All right, let's get right to the good stuff. Where are the hot spots this year?
Well, everything warm right now. A lot of people are going to a place called Punta Cana. It's in the Dominican Republic, and there's some charters that operate out of Pittsburgh by a couple of different companies that you can go for like 3, 4, or 7 nights. Beautiful white powder sand beaches. Everybody's going together on the same plane, so it makes the cost of the flight more economical. A lot of resorts are all-inclusive, so you pay one price. All your meals, all your drinks, all your motorized water sports, things are all included.
And give us an idea of what the cost might be per person.
This time of year, this is the high season. Anywhere warm really can command higher prices and pretty much get that due to the temperatures of the Northeast. But as a whole, you can go for 4 nights for about $1,000 per person, which, breaking that down on a daily basis with meals and things, you really couldn't even do that locally. To have the entertainment and the meals, everything included in the city could run you that much money.
Now tell me a little bit more about Punta Cana, because I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it, and it also sounds like you really need to know what to expect when you go. This is a little bit of a different location.
Sure. It's a European development. A group of European investors really found it, set it up. They really own most of the hotels. They own the airport. It's been discovered more so by the Europeans, so that for about the last 10 years, it's been Germans and French and Italian and Spanish-speaking people really going there. The Americans are new to it. We've only been going there for about 3 years, so there can be a little bit of a language barrier at times where you have to be a little patient that they may not understand what you're saying, but the staffs are rewarded monetarily to learn languages, so they've been coming around with that. It's an area where it's an hour from any close town, so you really have everything at your disposal right at your resort.
Okay, Debbie, and I want to get on to David Harris real quick, who knows everything there is to know about cruises. What is the best time? Is this a good time to take a cruise?
This is actually a great time. This is a great time to be booking a cruise, a great time to be taking a cruise. With the weather being cold, people like to take cruises this time of year. What we're seeing a lot of right now is people preparing for cruises for later on in the year. Cruising is people usually book their cruises in Pittsburgh 6 to 8 months out, which is a good time frame for cruising. So we're doing a lot of bookings for summertime right now, a lot of Alaska, a lot of family cruises, although it's getting a little bit late in the season for families because triples and quads cabins for 3 and 4 people are at a premium on cruise ships, so it's a little bit difficult to find them now. So families need to kind of lengthen that time frame a little bit. But we're doing a lot of bookings for Alaska and for the Caribbean for the summer.
Okay, and we do want to get back to you talking a little bit more about the family cruises and how you know which ship might be right for you. But let's move on to Dr. Gusky. When is the best time to make your travel plans? During the week, on the weekend?
Well, it's best to do it during the week because weekends are a little bit more expensive, and it also pays to be flexible. If you can change your dates a little bit, you might be able to get some lower fares. So I would say, first of all, be flexible and travel on the off time.
But a lot of the airlines, though, don't they require that Saturday night stay?
Oh, yes, they do. But if you're traveling before and after the weekend, then that seems to be the best way to do it.
So over the weekend,
yeah, so
period.
leave Wednesday, come back the next Wednesday.
Okay, a lot of people are turning to the internet to do their bookings. A good idea?
Oh, excellent idea, because you really have a lot of flexibility, a lot of power. You can find out what the prices are, what the availability is, the different types of flights that are out there. So it's really a godsend to all of us who like cruising on the internet.
What do you think about taking charter flights? Is that a good idea, or should you stick to the more well-known airlines?
It depends. You really want to stick with reputable airlines. You want to stick with reputable travel agencies. So if it's a charter flight and you've talked to people that have done it before, or at least found some information on them and they sound like they're legitimate, I would go with it. If it sounds too good to be true, then chances are it may be. So I would be very watchful of anything that sounds really exciting and too cheap.
And another thing we're always asked when we're booking a flight or a vacation is, do we want that travel insurance? Is that a good idea?
I think most of us are probably covered with the insurance that we have. And so even though it's relatively inexpensive, most people probably don't need it. And I would say chances are probably don't go after that.
All right, thank you very much. And when Local Talk returns, we'll have more travel tips, and still to come, your Techno tune-up. We'll tell you about a new kind of delivery service that's taking off thanks to the internet. Don't go away. There's a lot more Local Talk ahead. And welcome back to Local Talk. We're talking today about hot vacation spots and timely travel tips to help you enjoy smooth sailing on your vacation this year. Thanks again, all of you, for being here. I know a lot of folks walk in to AAA probably and say, we want to go somewhere, where should we go? And what do you suggest, though?
It can be difficult for us as agents because we don't know anything about you. So to suggest places, you know, we all have personal tastes. So it really helps that if people just sort of, you know, sit home, make it a family project, get some ideas. Gee, we'd like to go to Disney World, or gee, we'd like to go to California and see Disneyland, or we'd like to go to Arizona, see Grand Canyon, some basis to start. And then that way we're not throwing out ideas that are really going to be something you're not receptive to, or something that's just not even in your price range, or not even something in your expectation at all.
What could be some possible problems folks might run into?
A lot of times when you have larger families, 3, 4, or 5 people in a family or more, it can be difficult to secure arrangements if you're booking last minute. There are a lot of things where the hotel room, due to fire ordinances, can only accommodate so many, or cruise ship, they can only accommodate so many, and that way it can make it difficult for us to get you space at a reasonable rate.
David, let me move on to you. A lot of people, I would imagine, decide not to go on a cruise because they have kids. Is it a good idea to take kids on cruises?
Cruising is great for kids. There are a lot of cruise lines that focus very much on families, have certified family counselors or certified children's counselors on board. So a cruise actually is a great family vacation. It's an opportunity for the family to get together, to be in a relatively safe environment. You're in a closed environment with a cruise ship, so kids can go off and do their things, parents can go off and do their things, and then you get together for family events like meals and those kind of things, and the shows and different things. A lot of the cruise lines have wonderful children's programs, so we found them to be just great family vacations. And even for older kids and older families, we get together with our family every Christmas time and go on a cruise with our older children, and we find that just to be a great way to get together.
And how do you find that ship that is tailored to your needs?
I think it's important to talk with somebody who really understands the cruise business, agents who work a lot with cruises, cruise agencies. There are so many different ships out there and so many different itineraries and just the different feels of the ship and how they react towards families and kids of different ages, that it's important to get with somebody who really knows something about the specific ships and about the cruise lines and how they handle families.
Any misconceptions maybe about cruising? People who've never been on a cruise have said, oh, that's not for me.
There's a lot of things. I mean, one of the biggest things is people are afraid, well, there won't be enough to do on a cruise ship. And modern cruise ships are absolutely spectacular with the number of things they have to do. Royal Caribbean recently has come out with 2 ships that are virtually floating resorts, a rock climbing wall on board, an ice skating rink, rollerblading, miniature golf, just a huge, almost a street right down the middle of the ship. It's just fantastic. It's a wonderful ship for families, a wonderful ship for younger, active people, and the ships go to some fantastic destinations, and there's so many different things to do in all the different islands that there's something for just about everybody on a cruise ship.
Okay, Dr. Gusky, I know you have a lot of tips for consumers out there. One of your tips, I think, is to complain if you're not happy.
Absolutely. I think we as consumers a lot of times when we're traveling forget that we are not at their mercy, but we are the customers and we should be satisfied. So if our luggage gets damaged or banged up, if we get bumped off a flight, we should know the policies, that we can get an additional flight, we can get some free meals, we can get the luggage replaced. And so I think as consumers, we need to take advantage of those opportunities. But also the airlines and the cruise ships and all the travel agencies really want to know if you're satisfied or not. That's important so they can then help improve the service for the future. So absolutely, as consumers, take advantage of that and let them know if you're not happy.
I know a lot of times you'll see in the Sunday paper they'll be advertising a trip that you take next week. I mean, it's a very quick type trip, and I often wonder, is that what it seems to be? Is it too good to be true?
Sometimes it is, and once again, you have to check out the reputation of the organization, go online, talk to people, talk to some reputable travel agencies as well, and see if it really is legitimate. My advice to consumers, too, is really be careful and do your homework ahead of time. As Debbie and Dave was saying, you have to plan ahead and you have to make sure that everything's right. But then once you're there, you want to make sure you're going to have fun. So do your homework ahead of time once you've even made the decision where you're going. Look at the travel books on the plane or before you get there. Talk to people who have been there. Search online that city. So that way once you're there, you're not sitting in the hotel room trying to figure out what are we going to do next and really wasting very valuable and precious time.
Okay, in our last couple minutes, I want to get your all take on what your favorite vacation spot is. Let's start with you, Debbie.
I'd have to say Bermuda.
Yeah, tell us why.
It's absolute paradise. There's no place like it. It's extremely clean. The people are very, very friendly. You can walk down the street in the middle of the night and no one would approach you other than to say hello. You can go for a horse and carriage ride. It's just a sort of a lost time that really doesn't exist anymore.
Expensive location?
It can be expensive, but when you're paying for that sort of precious type area, it's worth every penny.
Okay, David?
Alaska, no doubt about it. It's a place you just can't describe. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And my wife has been there twice. I was there with her just this last year on a cruise tour with Princess, and it was just, it's fantastic. I mean, it's a place that everybody should see. And as I was saying before about families, it's a wonderful place to take families because there is so much to do in Alaska and so much to see, and it's part of our natural history. And it's words fail me when I try to talk about it.
Spectacular, I've heard.
It really does.
Everyone I've talked to says it's spectacular.
And I would have to say Paris and Rome. I love Europe, and very romantic, very cultured, just a wonderful opportunity for people to experience things that you never could experience in this country. The food, the people, the atmosphere, everything about the cities, the streets, just walking around. So I would say definitely those are two.
Okay, we have about a minute left. Anything folks should know, though, if perhaps they're planning a European vacation that you would specifically warn them against? Or?
I think that they would be surprised how reasonably priced they are, the trips to Europe. You can get a lot of e-savers, things online now, which are a lot of times less expensive than if you actually went within this country. So I would say check it out. Prices are very good. But once again, be careful. Watch where you're staying as far as hotels. Watch the location to make sure it's a safe area. And just do a little bit of research ahead of time.
Okay, and one final tip maybe. Book. How far in advance should you book your trip?
We typically recommend people to book at least 4 to 6 months in advance, but there are certain areas that you can book over a year in advance, and that really will get you the best value, the most for your money.
All right, Debbie Evans, thank you very much.
you.
David Harris, Dr. Dusky, thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, when we return...